Good day, good evening, wherever you are. This is Silver Busters coming at you with another video about gold and silver. And today we're talking about this gentleman right here you see on the screen, Mr. John Adams from As Good as Gold, Australia. And he has been making the rounds on the YouTube channels of late. And here he's on Palisades Radio with David Morgan, another big name in the silver community, but also I've seen him speaking to, the Liberty and Finance channel. I've seen him speaking to Arcadia Economics channel. So he has really made a splash in the last few days, and the reason is because he's done a lot of work to expose this situation with the Perth Mint, where they have, clearly stated delivery times for certain synthetic accounts they have. They have allocated and unallocated accounts that are held within the vaults of the Perth Mint, which is a government mint in Australia. And basically what's happened is people have gone to request that their unallocated or allocated gold accounts be, and silver specifically in this case, be delivered to them, and then the Perth Mint has been unable to fulfill the timeline that they have laid out on their website that constitutes their contract, essentially. So basically, Mr. John Adams here has taken to Twitter and other platforms and basically said, hey, the Perth Mint is in default. And using the big D word has gotten a lot of people scared or defensive, depending on what side of the fence they're on in this growing silver war that we're in. Basically, default is when you don't follow through on your contract. That's the simplest thing. Like, if I order something and you don't deliver it, that is a default. And, if I have in the contract, I will deliver it to you in 10 days, and I don't deliver it, that is also a default. But the CEO of the Perth Mint has, gotten on and in true, wiggle worm political fashion, tried to redefine terms, say, 10 days isn't for delivery, 10 days is for getting a quote and arranging shipping arrangements or something like that. And it's kind of sick because you see this more and more often these days. Whenever we're trying to discuss an important issue, a fundamental issue that affects us day in, day out, life and death kind of true outcomes, we're seeing this more in society, and not just in gold and silver, but in, all sorts of issues, legal issues, political issues, that people can't even agree on the terms, and they ignore the material outcome. The material outcome is black and white. It's either I have the silver or I don't have the silver, right? What words you use to justify the lack of that final real outcome really at the end of the day are meaningless. They're efforts at political distraction, of mitigating failures within the system that they deserve to suffer, because these are things that are important for us to know as a society. What is the gold and silver price? Well, it's just basically a massive sign of corruption, that the only thing that the elites have to prop up this system now seems to be flowery legalese that's used to, try to say, we haven't, our system hasn't broken down, when in reality it has. So basically, the silver community has kind of entered a new phase here, where they've begun targeting various synthetic products. And synthetic products are products that are anything besides actual silver in your hand, right? So if you have a allocated account in vault storage, but you haven't taken possession of it, if you have an unallocated account or a pool account, or, there's all of these different forms of paper silver that exist where they say, oh yes, you're backed by silver, but now because of all of this legalese and this kind of 50 shades of gray attempt of muddying the waters with the legal language, nobody is really confident that these various products, and there are a ton of them, it's not just the Perth Mint, all of these places that say, oh yeah, we have your silver, it's in the vault, and it's in such and such account, and you can request it whenever you want. Now it's shining a light on these organizations, and don't get me wrong, I'm sure the results from this that we'll discover are, we'll find some organizations that are 100% on the up and up and have everything completely under control, and then a gradual decline into mismanagement, and then slowdowns in mismanagement, and not accurately understanding what the time frames for some of these things actually are now, to actual corruption where these people had to know that they were running a fractional reserve system with the silver, and they didn't actually have the silver that they were selling to people, and they were just assuming, hey, nobody is going to ever want to request these because they don't want to pay the storage fees, and they don't want to worry about the security of taking it. They don't want to upgrade from an unallocated to an allocated with the serial numbers on the bars that they can have at least. There's all of these different stages that you can go through, from completely mythological paper claims on silver that may trade against the value of silver on the COMEX, all the way up to physical silver in your hand. And in that same way, we're going to see various stages of mismanagement and corruption that this whole process is going to reveal, because we're not talking, we're kind of preaching to the choir at this point, right? These are people, we're reaching these people who are already thought buying silver was a good enough idea for them to do, right? Because if you thought silver was a stupid investment, you still wouldn't invest in an unallocated silver account, or one of these products where the mint holds on to the gold and silver for you instead of actually taking it into your possession. So these are people who believe the gold and silver story. They just have various circumstances in their life where maybe they don't want to hold on to it. Maybe they were trying to get the lowest premium possible, and they weren't reading the fine print about what kind of product they were actually purchasing. And this is actually sparking quite a bit of panic within these people who are rushing to the Perth Mint in this case to make phone calls and say, hey, I want my silver that you have in this allocated account. And they're either getting response times like, yeah, you'll get it in 4 months. Nobody wants to hear that, right? That, yeah, it's going to take you 4 months to get your silver, because that means it's not there. That means it's not anywhere in the pipeline. It means they want that 4 months to scramble to see where they can actually secure silver from to actually get it to you. Because let's be realistic, it does not take 4 months to go into a warehouse, identify the bars that are needed, or even to manufacture some products, to slip something into a product strip line, right? And then get it sent out to people. When you get told, oh, it's going to be 4 months, it's scramble time, right? Because they're either not going to deliver at all, or they're going to scramble in the markets to try to pick something up, and it means absolutely nothing with securing your product. And I mean, I have none of the details here. I'm sure that when people put pressure on all of these different products, there are going to be products that are 100% solid, that have no problems whatsoever, and are going to be able to handle this pressure. But there's also going to be ones that are exposed as frauds, or exposed as running essentially fractional reserve systems, or that are so mismanaged that when the push comes for even a fraction of that gold or silver to actually come into the hands of the people who supposedly own it, those people those organizations are going to be revealed as frauds, essentially. So if you have any of these synthetic products, if you have ETFs that are run by JP Morgan, if you have any of these pool accounts, if you have any of these unallocated accounts, and you haven't done the due diligence and you don't trust the people who run it, because there's certain names in the industry. If I had PSLV, or if I was associated with David Morgan's silver products, assuming that he keeps up with it, you still may want to check up on these people, because, a PSLV, I'm sure Sprott and the guys are checking up on it themselves. But, David Morgan runs a multifaceted business, and I'm sure he trusted whoever he put in there, but maybe he's a better judge of the silver market than he's a judge of character, right? I don't know these things. Maybe there's someone dumb out there who is running these guys into the ground. So you can only really trust it if it's in your hands. I don't know, right? So I would recommend, if you're one of these folks who owns these products, go grab it now, because if you're in the situation that it looks like we're heading into, where we're going to have more and more government spending, more and more inflation of necessities, more and more political and societal instability, the last thing you need is for your supposed hedge against crisis to be a make-believe product or held in a vault that's hundreds or thousands of miles away and only is any good to you if all of the supply lines of day-to-day life are completely uninterrupted in normal situations, right? That's not the situation you want to be in. So I would double check up on all of that. And if you haven't, listen to at least one or two of John Adams' interviews on the subject. I recommend it. It definitely shines a light on the product. And this was predicted that if shortages first appeared, they wouldn't necessarily appear right away on the COMEX or right away in London, because these are the core of the systems. They're saying, hey, when shortages do appear, they appear on the periphery, right? And while Perth Mint is a major player, they're not the biggest player in the world. So this is like now starting to creep up the hierarchy into, if we're taking down the supporting cast in the process of getting to the main villains in the silver suppression story. And I really think that's what we're on to here. So that's my recommendation for this week. Go check out these interviews from John Adams. This has really been what's been going on this week in the silver community. And if there's anything else on this topic, just let me know down in the comments. Please subscribe to my channel. I'm trying to get up to 1,000 subscribers. And if this information is valuable to you, pass it on and share it to other people in the silver community. This has been Silver Busters, and I'm signing off for today. Hope you're doing well wherever you are, and see you again next time.